The lights were too bright. Mina couldn't see the crowd anymore. She stood in the middle of the wide stage, her hands slightly shaking. The gold curtains behind her had just parted, and the hush from the audience had fallen into an unnatural silence. It was the biggest night of her career, the one she had waited for since she was a little girl, dreaming from a small apartment in Cuba. The award show was being broadcast live to millions. She was meant to give the opening tribute, a 3-minute monologue celebrating women in film. She had practiced it for weeks. Her team told her she was perfect. But now, now her mouth was dry, her chest was tight, and the words were gone. She blinked. Once. Twice. But her mind was blank. Her heartbeat pounded so loudly she could barely hear anything else. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She had frozen. People in the audience shifted in their seats. Few cameras zoomed in. The silence became uncomfortable. And that's when she felt it. A soft, steady presence just off the side of the stage, Keanu Reeves. He wasn't supposed to be on stage yet. He had already presented his award earlier. He could have gone home. He didn't. He had stayed. And now, seeing her panic, he had walked closer without drawing attention. He stood just inside the curtain, in the shadows. His voice didn't echo, didn't carry, but somehow she heard it. A whisper meant just for her. Just breathe. I'm here. Her eyes found his. Keanu wasn't smiling, wasn't trying to cheer her up with false hope. He was just there present, calm, unshaken, and in that still moment, everything slowed down. Anna took a breath. One breath. It wasn't easy, but she took it. She remembered the first line. Then the next, her voice came out shaky at first, like a note played on a broken violin. But it was real, it was honest, and it was hers. She finished the tribute 3 minutes later. Not perfectly, not like the rehearsals, but from the heart. And when she walked off stage, hands trembling, eyes burning with emotion, Keanu was there waiting with a small paper cup of water. He didn't say good job. He didn't say I told you so. He just handed her the water, gently touched her shoulder, and stood beside her in silence. She whispered, "How did you know?" He replied softly, "Because I've been there too." And that was the beginning, not of a romance, not of a sudden rise to fame, but of a quiet, deep friendship that no one saw coming. They came from different worlds, different pasts, but something about that moment, her frozen in fear and him whispering in calm, created a bond stronger than fame, more real than any scene they had ever played. The days that followed were strange. The media tried to turn the incident into something bigger. Some mocked her online. Others called it bravery. Anna didn't read the comments. Instead, she found herself thinking about that. Whisper. Just breathe. I'm here. 3 simple words. But they had pulled her back when she thought she was drowning. In the next few days, Anna and Keanu ended up on the same project. It was a small film, nothing flashy, a passion project with a new director. Were cast as strangers who slowly become friends through letters oddly close to what was happening in real life. They didn't spend every minute together. They weren't glued to each other. But the quiet comfort between them was impossible to miss. One evening, after a long shoot, they sat side by side on a quiet balcony overlooking Los Angeles. Anna was still thinking about the stage, about how fast her confidence had shattered. She finally asked him, "Did you ever freeze like that?" Keanu didn't speak for a moment. He sipped his tea, then looked out at the city. "Once," he said, "at my first funeral." Anna turned surprised. "My best friend," he added. "I had to speak. The moment I stepped up, I just couldn't. People were waiting. I saw their faces. I felt like I didn't belong. I froze, just like you." And I didn't expect that answer. "What happened?" she asked. "A janitor," Keanu replied. "A man I didn't know well." He walked up and whispered something like, "Take your time. You're allowed to hurt." And that's all it took. Someone reminding me it was okay. They sat in silence. "Again. So now," Keanu said gently, "I try to do the same when I see someone else drowning." Anna looked at him with quiet eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded. "You don't owe me thanks. You just keep breathing." "A toe that night," she cried in private. Not because she was sad, but because someone had finally seen her not actress, not the face on the screen, but the girl behind the eyes. A week later, during a press event, a reporter asked her about the stage moment. Anna paused. She thought about avoiding it, about giving a perfect answer. But she didn't. I froze, she said, and someone helped me, quietly, without needing credit. The interviewer leaned in. You mean Keanu? Anna smiled, just slightly. I mean a friend. What Anna didn't know then was that this quiet bond would be tested in ways she couldn't imagine. A new role was about to be offered to her, a powerful one. But it came with shadows from her past, and this time, she wouldn't just freeze. She would fall hard. But would someone still be there? To whisper, just breathe. I'm here. 2 weeks later, Anna sat at a long wooden table inside a quiet reading room. The script was heavy in her hands, not because of the pages, but because of what was written inside. It was a raw story, a role most actresses would dream of, emotional, powerful, unforgettable. The film was called The Silence Beneath. It followed the story of a young immigrant woman who survives war, loss, and betrayal and still finds her voice. The part was bold, unlike anything Anna had done before. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't safe, it was real. The director was known for pushing actors past their comfort zones. His past films had won awards, but had also drawn criticism for how emotionally taxing they were. Anna read the final scene again. The one where the character breaks down in court, testifying about the trauma she had buried for years. Her hands trembled slightly. She knew this script would demand everything from her, and what scared her most is that parts of it felt too close to her real life. When she was younger, before the cameras, before the red carpets, Anna had gone through something she never fully talked about. Not with her agents, not even with her family. And now here was a script asking her to become someone who had lived through the same pain. She closed the script and leaned back, her breath shallow. She needed space to think. So she left. Outside the reading room, the sun had begun to set. Golden light painted the buildings, and the breeze carried the sound of distant traffic. Anna walked aimlessly, trying to calm the storm inside her. She didn't notice Keanu until he appeared beside her, walking quietly like he always did. No announcement, no rush, just presence. He didn't say anything for a moment. Then softly, asks you read it. Anna nodded. Double quotes. How do you feel? He asked. She looked at him, her eyes holding something deeper than words. Exposed, she said. Keanu nodded gently. That means it matters, he replied. What if I'm not strong? Enough? She asked. Keanu paused, then answered, then let the story carry you. Don't act. Feel. Anna looked down. I'm scared. He stopped walking. You know what scares me? He asked. She shook her head. When people stop being scared, he said, that means they're not growing anymore. His words sat with her, quiet, steady, that night. She took the role, but nothing prepared her for how hard it would hit. The first few weeks on set went well. The director was intense, but respectful. The scenes were demanding, but Anna gave everything. She began to feel proud, strong. But then came the courtroom. Scene. The one she had read that first day. The one that mirrored her own buried pain as she stood in front of the cameras. Lights glaring, crew silent. Anna tried to enter the characters. Heart, to feel the fear, the shame, the breaking point. But instead, her past came rushing in, not the character's past. Her own. The director called action. Anna opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Her vision blurred. Her hands started shaking. The silence stretched. Crew members exchanged glances. The director stepped forward. Anna. She couldn't answer. It wasn't a performance anymore. It was a collapse, she whispered. I can't. And then she walked off the set. She didn't go to her trailer. She didn't talk to anyone. She found a dark corner behind a curtain and sat down on the floor, hugging her knees, shaking. For the first time in years, she felt like that scared young girl again, the one who had been told to stay silent, to forget, to smile and move on. Tears slid down her cheeks, silent, uninvited. And then once again, Keanu appeared, not with a speech, not with advice, just presence. He sat down on the floor beside her, not across. Not far, right there. Their shoulders nearly touched. He didn't say her name, didn't ask what was wrong. He simply whispered, "You're not broken, you're brave." Yana sobbed harder. "I thought I was past this," she said through tears. Keanu replied softly, "Healing isn't a line, it's a spiral. Sometimes you feel like you're back where you started, but you're not." They sat like that for a long time. No makeup, no roles, no fame. Just two people. Two hearts. One moment later, when the director checked in, he was respectful. He gave Anna space. He postponed the scene without question. Anna was allowed to rest. But that night, she called her mother. For the first time, she told her what happened years ago. The silence she had carried, the pain she had buried. And her mother cried with her. "I'm proud of you," her mother said. "Not because you act, but because you finally let someone in." The next day, Anna returned to set, and she did the courtroom scene. Not perfectly, but truthfully. When the cameras stopped, no one clapped. They didn't need to. The silence in the room said it all. Keanu, standing near the monitor, didn't smile. He just nodded. Once, Anna saw it, and it was enough. She didn't just act, she lived through it, and she rose. But this was only the middle, because a storm was coming, and this time, it wouldn't be hers. It would be Keanu's. The film wrapped 3 months later. Critics hadn't even seen it yet. But the people who worked on it knew it was something special. There was a quiet energy around the crew, like they had just finished building something delicate and beautiful. With their bare hands, Anna stood in the makeup room alone, brushing her fingers gently over the costume hanging beside her. It was the courtroom outfit. Simple, gray, worn by her character during the most painful moment of the film. She had asked if she could keep it. The director agreed as she stood there. Remembering everything that had happened during those scenes, Keanu stepped in. "You okay?" he asked. Anna nodded, then smiled softly. "I was," she said, "until I remembered this is over." He leaned against the wall beside her, arms folded. "You're different now," he said. Anna looked at him, double quotes. "How?" "You stopped hiding," Keanu replied. "You let yourself be seen, even when it hurt." She didn't reply. She didn't need to. A few hours later, they all gathered for a quiet farewell dinner. No cameras, no red carpet, just cast crew. In candlelight, the restaurant was small, hidden in a quiet part of town. It's the kind of place where no one recognized them, and no one cared. Anna sat near the window, her plate half finished. Across the table, Keanu was speaking to the cinematographer about lighting choices. He looked calm, even happy. But when Anna glanced again, something in his eyes shifted. He went quiet. His hand slipped into his pocket, pulled out a phone, looked at it for a long second, then stood up quietly and walked outside. Anna watched. Him. He wasn't rushing, but there was tension in his shoulders. Something heavy. She waited. 10 minutes passed. 15. Then she followed. Outside, the night was cold. Keanu stood alone near the edge of the sidewalk, one hand on the phone, the other rubbing his forehead slowly. Anna approached quietly. "You okay?" He didn't look at her. He just nodded. She stood beside him, waiting. Finally, he said it. "My sister's in the hospital again?" Anna's heart dropped. "Is it bad?" He nodded again. "She stopped treatment 2 months ago. Didn't tell me." Anna didn't know he had a sister. He never talked about his personal life. "Do you want to go see her?" Keanu looked at her eyes, full of emotion. "I have to." "I'll come," Anna said, without hesitation. He blinked. "You don't have to, I know," she replied. "But you didn't leave me when I broke. I'm not leaving you now." They Flew out the next morning. The hospital was in a quiet part of Northern California. Small town. Mountain views kept to sister. Lily was in a pale room on the third floor. The machines around her beeped gently. Her skin was pale, but her eyes were strong when they opened. "You look like hell," she whispered with a smile. Keanu chuckled, stepping to her side. Anna stayed back, quietly watching. "Why didn't you tell me?" Keanu asked softly. Lily looked at him, then over at Anna. "Because I didn't want to ruin your peace," she said, "and because I knew you'd come running." He swallowed hard. Anna stayed for 2 days, in those quiet hospital halls. She saw a different side of Keanu, not the actor. Not the calm guide who whispered wisdom in dark moments, but a brother. A man carrying grief, quietly in his bones. On the second night, Keanu sat alone in the hospital chapel. Anna found him there, head bowed, hands clasped. She didn't interrupt. After a while, he said, "I don't know how to pray, but I still come here," and sat beside him. "You don't need words," she whispered. "Just presence." He looked at her, "Like you gave me." "Exactly," she said. A tear slipped down his cheek. He didn't wipe it. "I can't fix this." He whispered. Anna gently placed her hand over his. "You don't have to," she replied. "Just stay. That's enough." And so they stayed. Day after day, Lily grew weaker, but her smile remained. She and Anna talked often, sometimes about life, sometimes about nothing. On the 5th day, Lily asked Anna a question. "Do you love him?" Anna looked surprised. Lily smiled gently, not in the movie way, in the human way. The way people love trees that don't move but never leave. Anna didn't know what to say. She just nodded. Slowly, "He's been alone too long," Lily whispered. "Make sure he knows he's not anymore." Later that night, Keanu and Anna sat on the hospital roof, wrapped in jackets, watching the stars. "You've given me more than I ever gave you," Keanu said quietly. Anna turned to him. "That's not true," she replied. "You gave me breath. I'm just giving it back." He looked at her, eyes soft. "You know," he said, "you saved this movie. Courtroom scene. It changed me." Anna smiled. "You changed me first." But before they could say more, his phone buzzed. A message from the nurse. They both knew. The next morning, Lily passed peacefully, and Keanu broke. Not loudly, not violently, but like a man who had carried too much for too long. Anna held him, not like a lover, not like a friend. Like someone who had learned what he once whispered to her, "Just breathe. I'm here and now." The world would soon know the truth behind that moment on stage, but not in the way anyone expected, because a leaked video was coming and it would twist everything and threaten to tear them both apart. The news broke on a quiet Monday morning. Anna was at home, curled up on her sofa, a cup of coffee warming her hands. She had finally returned from the trip with Keanu, her heart still heavy from Lily's passing. The world outside moved fast to get calls. From her manager, interview requests, offers from magazines, but she didn't want any of it. She just wanted stillness. Then her phone buzzed, again and again. Messages flooding in, first from her assistant, then from reporters. And finally, from Keanu, she opened the message, just 3 words. "Don't look online." But it was too late. A video had leaked. Raw. Out of context. Filmed secretly by someone on the crew during the courtroom scene. It showed Anna breaking down, crying uncontrollably, struggling to get through the lines. It didn't show the script. It didn't show the scene setup. It looked like she was having a mental breakdown. Worse, the title of the video said, "Ana de Armas melts down on set, Keanu tries to calm her like a therapist." They turned the moment into a joke. Comments were brutal. "She's too fragile for Hollywood." "Poor Keanu, always playing babysitter. Is this acting or is she just unstable?" Anna dropped her phone. It hit the carpet with a soft thud. Her breath caught in her chest. The tears came quickly, not the kind that feel soft and healing. These burned. She wasn't crying because people misunderstood. She was crying because the most private, vulnerable moment of her life, one that had taken all her courage, had been turned into entertainment. And the worst part, They dragged Keanu. Into it, she called him. I'm so sorry, she whispered the moment he answered. Don't, he said. You didn't do this? They're saying horrible things about you. Let them talk, he replied. Truth doesn't live in comment sections, but it's everywhere now. He paused, then asked gently, Do you want to go quiet? For a while. I do, she said. Then come with me, he whispered. Anna didn't ask where, she just packed a bag. By sunset, they were driving north past the city lights, beyond the highways, into a part of California where the trees were. Taller than buildings and no cameras followed, Keanu owned a small cabin tucked into the woods. No Wi-Fi. No service. Just wind, birds, and quiet. They stayed there for days. Anna cooked. Keanu chopped wood. They took long walks without speaking. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes he did. Not always for the same reasons, but always in the same. Silence. On the fifth night, Anna stood barefoot in the cold grass, looking up at the stars. Keanu came out and stood beside her. I feel like I lost everything, she whispered. He didn't ask what she meant. My dignity, my trust, my strength. He looked at the sky, too, then said softly, You didn't lose it. They just tried to steal it. Anna turned to him. How do I take it back? He looked at her, eyes steady. You stand in the fire. Not run from it. And when the smoke clears, you'll still be there whole. She nodded slowly. Will you help me? She asked. Always, he said. They returned to the city a week later. The buzz was louder than ever. But something had changed in Anna. She didn't hide. She didn't explain. Instead, she posted a message online, not on a magazine. Not through her agent. Just a quiet post with one sentence. What you saw wasn't a breakdown. It was bravery. And then she shared a clip. Not the leaked one. A short behind-the-scenes moment recorded during rehearsals one. That showed the real story. Her, standing on set, shaking, voice trembling, and Keanu beside her whispering quietly, Just breathe. I'm here. No breakdown. No drama. It's human truth. The video went viral, but this time, not because of mockery. This time, as people listened. This is what acting really means. Keanu. And Anna just showed us what trust looks like. Cried watching this. Not because it's sad, but because it's real. The tide began to turn. Anna's honesty broke through the noise, but as light returned to her life, a shadow began to fall over Keanu's. A private email had been leaked. One he sent to a charity in Lily's name. Someone twisted his words. Claiming he used the donation for publicity. News outlets jumped on it. Headlines blared. Is Keanu Reeves using grief for good press? Anna saw it all, and she was furious. She went to his home. He was sitting on the floor. Back against the wall, phone turned off. I don't care what they say, he said quietly. You should, Anna replied, because it's a lie. Adele. Forget in a week. But I won't, she said. I can't just sit by. Keanu looked at her, eyes full of exhaustion. I can handle it, he whispered. Anna knelt beside him. You always do, she said. But you shouldn't have to handle it alone. For the first time, Keanu's voice cracked. I'm tired, Anna. She reached out, took his hand. Then let me carry some of it, she said.
Aye.
Like you carried me. He looked at her for a long time, then nodded. And so, together they faced the fire. Not with rage, not with revenge, but with truth. Anna did interviews not to clear her name, but to speak openly about pain, trust, and the cost of vulnerability. She didn't defend Keanu with words. She defended him by showing the world what kindness looked like, and little by little, the storm passed. But they both knew it wasn't the end, because one more secret remained, one that Keanu had never told anyone, not even Anna, and soon. It would come to light and everything would change. The air felt different between them now. Anna could sense it, not tension, not distance. But something held back, like a quiet truth that hadn't found its voice yet. They still spoke every day, still shared coffee in the morning, walks in the evening, small laughs between moments of silence. But Keanu was quieter now. Sometimes he would trail off mid-sentence. Sometimes he would disappear for hours. When Anna asked where he went, he only said, "Just needed to think." She didn't push him. But her heart knew something was coming. It arrived in a white envelope. Anna found it on the floor near Keanu's door one morning. Someone had slipped it under without knocking. It had no name on the front, just a symbol. A red circle with a black mark through it. She handed it to Keanu. He froze when he saw it. His hands trembled slightly as he opened it. Inside were two things: a photo, a letter. The photo was old, slightly torn at the edge. It showed a younger Keanu, barely in his 20s, standing beside a man with deep scars on his face and a military jacket. Behind them, in the background, was a burned-down building. Anna looked at the photo, confused. The letter was worse. It accused Keanu of covering up a violent past. Claimed that in the 90s, while filming a forgotten indie film overseas, he had been involved in an incident that left people hurt. The letter was threatening. It said if he didn't confess publicly, the rest of the photos and witness statements would be released. Anna read it twice, then looked at him. "What is this?" Keanu sat down, face pale. "I never hurt anyone," he said. "But there was a night. Years ago, something went wrong." He looked away. "I've tried to forget it, but I knew it would find me again." Waited slowly, carefully, Keanu told her the truth. In his early years, before Hollywood knew his name, he had gone abroad for a film that was never finished. They were shooting in a war-touched region. Tensions were high. One night, some local men started a fight with the crew. It escalated fast. Someone set fire to the location. One of the producers was badly injured. "I didn't start it," Keanu said. "I tried to help. I pulled 2 people out of the building." But in the chaos, someone snapped a photo. For years, people believed different versions. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" "'Cause I thought it would die quietly, and maybe. I was afraid no one would believe me." Anna sat beside him, heart heavy. "I believe you," she said. "But they won't," he whispered. "Not now. Not with everything going on. Then we tell the truth, on our terms." Keanu looked at her, surprised. "What do you mean?" "We sit, side by side. We talk. One take. No lights, no script, just truth." He was silent for a long time. Then finally, he nodded. A few days later, they did exactly that. They filmed a quiet video, just the two of them, on a small couch. No music, no edits. Anna spoke first. She told the world how she broke on stage, how Keanu had whispered the words that helped her breathe again. Then Keanu spoke. He talked about the past, about the fire, the photo, the mistakes made, the help he gave, the silence he chose. He didn't defend himself. He didn't blame anyone. He just told the truth. "I'm not perfect," he said, "but I never walked away from people in pain. I won't start now." Anna looked at him, then added quietly, "We're not telling this to be forgiven. We're telling it because silence hurts more than truth." They posted the video. Within hours, it exploded. Some people believed them. Others didn't, but for the first time, they weren't hiding. One comment stood out. It read, "I don't know if the world deserves people like them, but I'm glad they exist." A few days later, Anna received a call. The film they had made together, The Silence Beneath, was chosen to open one of the biggest film festivals in Europe. Not only that, she was nominated for Best Actress, and she wanted Keanu there with her. "Will you come?" she asked him softly over the phone. He didn't answer right away then. In a quiet voice, he said, "I'll come, but only if you promise me something." "What?" You freeze again. "Let me whisper the same thing." Anna smiled gently. "You won't have to," she said. "But if I do, I'll listen." The festival day arrived. Anna wore a soft silver gown. No jewels. No extra shine. Keanu wore a simple, black suit. They walked the carpet not as stars, not as performers, but as survivors of the quiet wars no one ever sees. But just as Anna stepped up for her speech, something unexpected happened. Her eyes caught a woman standing near the back. She froze. Her hands trembled again. For a moment, the past rushed back. Not the courtroom scene, Not the leaked video, but that one moment. On stage, when she froze under the lights, her chest tightened, her breath stopped. Then she heard it, not loud, not dramatic, just soft, real. Just breathe. I'm here. Keanu didn't say it this time. He mouthed it, and her heart remembered. She nodded once, smiled slightly, and then she spoke clear. True, unafraid. But behind the cameras, in the shadows of the crowd, someone was watching. A figure with a phone. A phone. A face from Keanu's forgotten past. The one who took the photo. The one who started the fire. And he wasn't finished yet. The applause was still echoing when Anna stepped off stage. People congratulated her. Some hugged her. Others simply touched her arm with warm smiles. But her eyes searched for one person. Keanu. He stood near the curtains, watching her the way he always did, quietly, without trying to take space, without needing attention. She walked up to him and wrapped her arms around him. We did it, she whispered. He smiled gently. You did it. I just stood in the wings. She pulled back, looking into his eyes. No, she said softly. You were the wings. They both laughed quietly. But in Keanu's eyes, something still lingered. Something unresolved, Anna noticed. What is it? She asked. He hesitated. The man with the phone. I saw him too. Do you know who he is? Keanu nodded slowly. His name is Daniel Mercer. He was a journalist back then, one of the few allowed on set during that film shoot. He was the one who took the photo, and the one who twisted the story. Why would he come now? 'Cause the truth threatens the lie he built. Anna didn't flinch. Then let's end it. They didn't go through lawyers. Didn't hide behind agents. They invited him to meet in person. Neutral ground. Small public park near the coast. Open space. No crowds. Just the ocean and sky. Daniel arrived dressed in a sharp suit, holding a leather folder under one arm. His eyes were sharp, calculating. I'm surprised you agreed to meet, he said calmly. Keanu stood tall beside Anna. We don't run, he replied. Daniel smirked. You should have stayed silent. The world was beginning to forget. Truth isn't for sale, Anna said quietly. Daniel opened the folder and pulled out more photos. He laid them on the bench. You may have fooled them, he said, but I know what happened that night. The fire, the injuries, the rumors, they'll never go away. Keanu looked at the photos without fear. I never denied the chaos, he said. But you used pain for profit. You took half a story and built your name on it. Daniel raised an eyebrow. And now you're a saint? No, Anna replied. He's a man who carried guilt that didn't belong to him, and now is done carrying it. Keanu reached into his coat and pulled out a small recorder. This is yours, he said, handing it to Daniel. Daniel looked down, confused. You dropped it that night. It has the original audio. You forgot it was still recording. Daniel's face froze. Anna stepped closer. We didn't leak it. We won't. Because we believe in truth, not revenge, Keanu added. But we won't be silent anymore. And neither will others. Daniel slowly took the recorder, his hands slightly trembling. For the first time, he looked unsure. You can rewrite your story, Anna said softly. Or you can keep living in the lie. Hey, the choice is yours. Without another word, they turned and walked away. A month later, a new article appeared, written by Daniel Mercer. Its title read, The Truth Behind the Fire. And the man who saved lives that night. He was honest, raw. And for the first time, it named Keanu not as the villain, but as the one who pulled two injured crew members from the burning set. Long before emergency help arrived, the photos were shown with full context. The full story finally told. Keanu didn't celebrate. He didn't do interviews. He just sat quietly with Anna in his backyard, sipping tea as birds flew overhead. Anna smiled at him. You good? He nodded. Lighter, he said, like I put down a bag I forgot I was carrying. He sat in silence for a while. Then Anna asked, What now? Keanu looked up at the sky. We live, he said quietly, truthfully, maybe even happily. Anna rested her head on his shoulder. You know, she whispered. You never told me why you whispered those words that day. Not just because of your past. But why those words? Keanu smiled softly. Because when my father left, when I was a boy, my mother held me and said the same thing. I was crying, confused, frozen. And she just said, just breathe. I'm here. Anna closed her eyes. And for the first time in a long time, they both felt free. Not because the world had changed, but because they had chosen truth over fear, presence over performance, and kindness over silence. Ending. Line for voice generation, just breathe. I'm here. And sometimes that's all someone needs to hear.